welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
With me today is abundance teacher and money coach, Jody Lynn Craven.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today.
And Happy New Year! Because by the time
New
you hear
Year!
this, it'll be 2026 or later, depending on when you hear it. Most people will hear it in 2026. I hope they're listening that soon. You never really know. But yeah, we're recording this the last day of 2025. And I guess the comment that we always make every year, we can make it today too, which is, wow, that went fast.
It did. Yes. Every year. I don't know if it's an age thing or whatever, but I used to feel like time went so slowly. Now it's like you blink and
it's gone. Yeah.
it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So all the more reason to appreciate it while it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like the little built-in reminder, like, appreciate everything, which, by the way, plays out a lot of really positive ways for us when we do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's a bad reminder. It's a good reminder.
No, it's a great one.
It's a great reminder. So, yeah, well, that's the kind of thing that you reflect on at the beginning of the new year or the end of the old year, right? You this is a time for reflection. It's a time for people to make resolutions as they break the next day and things like that.
That's right. Good old resolutions.
That's right.
Do they ever work?
Well, I can say one time that it worked.
Yeah.
It was actually the last time I made a resolution, and it was about 15 years ago. And the resolution I made was I was never going to make any more resolutions for New Year's.
And it worked.
It worked. It was great.
My dad has the best resolution, and he makes it every year.
Okay.
He resolves to only drink when he's alone or with someone. And it works every year.
Yeah, you can cover that one fairly easily. So
yeah, that's very easy. Yeah. That's his only resolution. And I mean, he's not a big drinker or anything, but
it doesn't really matter. It works either way. Who cares?
Exactly. Yep. 100%.
And as I was sharing with you before we got going, I saw a cute thing about resolutions. Somebody took a picture of a Dairy Queen with the sign up front of the Dairy Queen that says, we have honored your resolution, or we have helped you break your resolution since 1962. So it's nice to know Dairy Queen is, performing a service.
Yeah, exactly. They're consistent. Oh, I love that.
Something else that happens this time of year, though, I think part of it is because of Christmas and not just the Christmas story itself, but also various stories around Christmas. I mean, probably the most famous one around Christmas would be A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens' story, which is based around ghosts. And one of the things that I think people focus on this time of year is they focus on the spiritual side of things. They focus on it from a wide range of angles, of course. I mean, there's obviously for Christians, there's the religious side of it. But I found that I think that's one of the reasons why, especially here in the US, and I think possibly in Canada as well, there are quite a few religious type orientations that celebrate different things, right? We've got Christmas, obviously, for Christians. The Jews, they celebrate Hanukkah. We have the relatively new created holiday called Kwanzaa. I mean, there are a number of these that go on this time of year. So it tells me there is spiritual stuff going on this time of year. And that, I think that ties into the change of the year. I mean, really, the change of the year is just, we have a calendar, so we keep track of a calendar for 365.3 days. And, we do that every year. And so when it changes over, okay, we've marked that as this is an important event. Is it actually an important event? Well, it is because we say so. Yeah. But, cosmically, I don't know how important it is. It's just, there it is. But nevertheless, we tend as humans to give some extra credence to this time of year. And I think one of the ways that we do that is through spiritual beliefs and spiritual advocacies and so forth. So I'm thinking we start off talking about resolutions, but maybe we take this into the spiritual realm.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So you're getting excited. I can see that.
I think it all ties together because, when we were talking off air, we were talking about willpower for resolutions. And that's a quick way to burn yourself out. But it's about alignment. And I think that spirituality connects with that alignment. Like it's energy. It's energetic.
And literally, like I was telling you before, and of course I've told listeners this before, my reasons for creating the podcast in the first place over 13 years ago derives specifically from willpower driving me into the ground. I mean, I was using willpower to survive and failing miserably to the point where I was desperate. I had no idea what to do. That's literally why I started the podcast.
Thank God you did.
I'm really glad. Yeah, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. It's amazing what we can do out of desperation.
Absolutely. Where we're led, who we meet, what happens. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
And what came along with that was a recognition. This is, again, what you and I were talking about before we got started. It was a recognition of just how weak willpower is. And I don't mean that as a way of saying, oh, we should be so ashamed of willpower or anything like that. I mean, it just literally is not a large strength. It's not one of the things that we can really lean into that's going to work well consistently from day to day. Whereas, and you just named the word, the thing that does work is alignment every single day.
Yeah. And I think that's why a lot of resolutions fail. Well, I think there's a couple parts there, but one of the parts is that we try and do it through sheer force of willpower. And like you said, that muscle or that ability isn't as strong as alignment, for example, or other things.
Something I've been doing a lot of experimenting with. Of course, I've done this pretty much since starting the podcast, learning how all this stuff worked. But particularly over the last, I'm going to say 2 months or so, I've been making it a daily practice to get myself into alignment throughout the day. Literally stop, just go from my head, focus to my heart, my inner connection, and just stay there for 30 seconds, maybe a minute, something like that, just focused on that with the intention of not only maintaining the focus, but also feeling better from it, because I always feel better when I do that. I think you probably do too. That's pretty universal, right? So when we do that practice, first things first, I'm raising my vibration. I'm getting myself into a higher vibrational space. I'm feeling better. And secondly, I'm setting myself for the next 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours to have a better time, better things happening, and enjoying it more and experiencing more good stuff coming out of it. And the reason I've been really focusing on that for the last couple of months is kind of experimental to see, okay, what happens if I do that every day? Now, I have done this before, so this is not like this is new for me. But especially over the last couple of months, I was thinking, you know, I really should do this more often. Let's see if I can do this every day. Can't honestly say I've done it every day, but it's been pretty close, almost every day. And I guess what I've been paying attention to particularly is what happens immediately afterward. Not hours later, you know, within the next hour, what happens. And the astonishing thing is the next hour gets dramatically better every time. And why I'm still astonished by that, I have no idea, because I mean, I should know this by now.
But I think it's our humanness. You know, we're taught in our society that you do things with like your hands, your mind, like if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Like people don't think about that as the entire context of the picture. They think about it in what I can do. It's action of what I can do.
Right.
And breathing seems too simple. Like, oh, what's that gonna do? Nothing. So I think that's very human to be surprised by things getting better in the next hour.
Well, I'll make it even more surprising because I don't even think about breathing. I mean, I do slow my breathing down just because I'm used to doing that. But literally, I don't focus on that at all. I focus on one thing. I focus on my heart area. That's it. Just stay there. I have no other agenda whatsoever. There's no steady breathing. There's no other form of meditation. It's just focus there. That's it. That alone works.
Yeah.
Which 100%. Is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the heart it's more than just the organ that pumps the blood. I think that the heart is a huge part of our electromagnetic field and is I don't know if it's the transmitter or the signal sender. I don't know anything about frequency, like that radio frequency, to explain it in that way, but it's a powerful energetic tool dropping into your heart.
And we're not just talking metaphorically powerful either.
No,
this is physical power.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is what, it means to move mountains.
I mean, I've never tried actually moving a mountain with that. I don't think I'm confident enough to try that, to be perfectly honest.
Not yet. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day, yeah. Not quite ready for that one. But
No.
I can move small mountains, like my own little small mountains, not the ones off in the mountain range, but my own small mountains. I can move those pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And there was a time I didn't think that was even possible. I mean, first of all, the mountains off in the mountain range, I knew they were just outside of my range entirely. But even the ones nearby, I still didn't believe I could really do much about them. Yeah. They were just going to happen. Whatever was going to happen was going to happen. That's what my belief system told me. Mm-hmm. Boy, was I wrong about that.
Right? Oh, man. This is the stuff that we should be learning as kids.
Oh, my goodness. Can you imagine? Well, actually, some are learning that now, which is really cool. I mean, it's not the majority of kids, but I love how many kids now are being exposed to this teaching.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fabulous.
Yeah. What a different world we will have when more people understand this.
And it doesn't take a lot.
No. I think that's also what baffles most people is that we're taught it's supposed to be hard. It's going to take a long time. It's, you got to do this step or that step or whatever the sequence of events is. And then, just breathe and drop into your heart space and be still. Like, what? It's a waste of time.
And not only that, but also the idea that it can influence other people at the same time. I mean, we get this idea in our heads, I think because we're fearful, we get this idea in our heads that we have to have a whole bunch of us doing it. Like a majority of the population have to do this in order for the world to change.
Yeah.
And it's not true. You don't need anywhere near that amount. You can change that with just a few people. You can change, what goes on in your entire area, just a few people getting together and focusing on something similar together. The change happens.
Mm-hmm. And if you think about it on a singular level, like when you are changing, everything around you is changing. So your interaction with the next person at the grocery store or wherever you are getting gas or, out and about, your interaction with somebody else creates that ripple or that domino effect. So it started with you. You had a pleasant demeanor or whatever, this aura about you where you left somebody else feeling good and you didn't do anything. You were just in their presence. And then they go out and do the same.
Yeah.
There's another piece too. And I think this may be actually the main reason. Well, I don't know main, but let's just say it's a leading reason. It's a leading reason why I think people resist the idea that a small number of people can make large changes. Mm-hmm. And that is when we do this, even fairly regularly, change our vibration is what we're doing. We're basically raising our vibration on a consistent basis. And we're doing it amongst people that we know or even love who aren't doing the same thing. We can end up becoming distant from them, or more precisely, they become distant from us because they aren't keeping up with the same kind of a pattern that we're doing. Mm-hmm. And that throws us off. Mm-hmm. Because then it feels like the world's falling apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're not in alignment with you, or they're just not in the same zone as you.
Yeah. And that's disconcerting. That's upsetting, actually. Mm-hmm. Right? Because if you're on a path where you're hoping to, have a small group get together and make things happen, you want all the people you love to come along with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if they don't, if some of them are actually drifting away, it's a very natural conclusion to draw that, well, this stuff doesn't work. In fact, it actually works against me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know that when I started, I don't even know if it was the start of my spiritual journey, but when I really started to tap into the woo of it all and get a little witchy, if you will, I lost friends. Mm-hmm. They didn't understand. And I never had the conversations with them, but they just pieced out. Like that was it. And that was really difficult for me because then you question, have I done something wrong? Am I on the right track? What's happening? Like these people were my best friends and then now they're not.
Yeah. Which is disruptive at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it creates that fear of like, am I going down the wrong path? And did I do the right thing? Am I weird?
Well, we knew that anyway, but we love that.
Exactly. Oh my God. We were in Hawaii and I can't remember how it started or something, but I had said to Nate, oh yeah, we got to go to like the crystal store or something. And he's like, oh, I didn't think you were a witch anymore. And I was like, how do you ever not like, how do you unbecome a witch? Like, I don't know. I've never said that I'm a witch, but he thinks that I am. And
Okay.
in the nicest way possible.
Oh yeah.
He thinks that I have powers and he doesn't really understand.
I can attest to it. I mean, I've experienced it just doing these shows with you. I mean, I can tell what your powers are, and they're pretty substantial. So
Well,
I get it.
you. Yeah. Like that never goes away, Nate. Like I'm always gonna be witchy. I'm always gonna be woo. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, let's go to the crystal store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's alignment. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good
We
stuff.
found the coolest things there too. So yeah.
Of course, the challenge, like we were saying, is that other people tend to go away, and we tend to fear that we're losing ground when that happens.
Mhm.
And what does always happen afterward, it can seem like it takes time, and it seems like there's a big gap, a chasm even in the middle, is we attract new people more in alignment with where we've emerged to, where we've aligned to, where we've leveled up to, so to speak.
Mhm.
And that's pretty cool. I don't know what your feeling is on it. I know my feeling is each time I experience that, I level up, I attract somebody who's at that new level, there's a part of me that's waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Mm.
You know
For
what I
them to
mean?
leave or like walk away or
Yeah,
something.
this is too good to be true. Something has got to go wrong here, because this is not the way life works. Of course, it is the way life works, but the fear is still there. You know?
Mhm. I remember feeling that way when I met Nate.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I was terrified. Like, what is it I'm not seeing here? What am I missing?
Yeah, right.
When's this other shoe gonna drop? I'm grateful I had a relationship coach, because it was more about my inner feeling of safety than anything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't thought about it in terms of friends. I don't know. I've just never thought about losing them or whatever. I think now I have this maybe tougher exterior where it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to be friends with me, then see ya. I don't know. When I turned 40 this year, something changed.
Oh, it did. Okay.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. My like give a F meter kind of just disappeared.
Packed it in.
Yeah. If you don't like me, that's okay. I'm okay. I'm going to be just fine. There's people that do like me. So,
which is a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is funny though how we go through these adaptive cycles. I think they're cycles, because we're going through change all the time. I mean, that's just part of what it is to be alive. And it's not a continuous gentle curve. It's an up and down all over the place kind of a route. So we're also dealing with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting who comes into your life and then leaves and then comes back, and you know how that process all works.
It's fun when somebody does come back, because what that means, of course, is that they leveled up too.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you leveled down, maybe they leveled down. I mean, it can work either way.
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the first one better. They leveled
well,
up.
that's what we're aiming for, right? That's
Yeah,
what
that's right.
the whole topic was starting with. We're starting with let's make the change. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what we're committed to.
Absolutely.
But it's also a reminder. I mean, it works both ways. It's not like that steady curve is there. It's not a steady upward curve. There are the ups and downs, which means our vibrations are shifting all the time. That was one of the factors that confused me for the longest time, trying to understand how all of this stuff works. How could the vibration be bouncing all over the place, and yet we can still end up attracting the kind of life we want, or even worse, the kind of life we don't want. But how does that work? How does that play? It took me a long time to figure that out. I played with a number of different ideas. I played with, well, maybe it's average. Maybe you average the whole thing out, and the average is what it turns into, or maybe certain vibrations play better than others because it just depends on how powerful they are compared to the other vibrations. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's all of that in one way or another. It's all those factors come into play.
Yeah.
But really, what it came down to is I just had to come to grips with the fact that I'm bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
I had to be okay with that.
That you're not the same.
Yeah.
Day to day, hour to hour, you're different. Yep.
And you know what the amazing thing was that came along with that surprised me? Once I came to terms with that, everything calmed down.
Because you're no longer afraid of it. You're no longer afraid of the change or where you're going to be. And a lot of people get stuck, especially in like the spiritual world of like, I have to be high vibe and really beat themselves up when they do have low points. And I think that's a shame because we learn so much from those moments of darkness and those moments of like strife and trial, or there are opportunities for us to learn more about ourselves.
I know for myself, one of the biggest challenges was coming to accept the fact that the lows are just as valuable as the highs and that I can be okay with them. It isn't so much the experience of them that's so unnerving. It's being okay with them. Like, no, I can't be okay. This is a nasty thing. I don't want to be okay with a nasty thing. That's our normal way of wanting to do things, particularly in modern society. You don't want to have to deal with them and think of them as being in some way acceptable or useful or whatever.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I think we're socialized to it. I think it's part of it. I think probably part of it is just that we, in our current society, we're very externally oriented. And when you're externally oriented, you're going to experience more up and down. I mean, it's just because that's what the world is. It's a high contrast polarity world. So when you're externally oriented, you're going to be riding that wave. You're going to be riding that. It's more than a wave. It's more like a roller coaster that bounces all over and goes 5 different sideways at once and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So that's what makes it so poignant for everybody, so familiar for everybody. The change comes when we stop trying to be so externally oriented and think internally. Which takes me back to what I was talking about before, every day finding time to just go within and just stay focused on that one spot, my heart. By the way, that took me a long time to come to terms with the idea that my heart was the connection to my inner being.
Really?
That to me was not an easy concept.
Interesting. Why?
Because I didn't feel it. It took me a long time to feel it. And I would say it didn't even happen within the first 5 years of doing the podcast.
Really?
It was 5 or 6 years before I finally started to make some connection. And I don't remember what the exact circumstances were, but there was one time when it occurred to me that the interconnection had always been there and I just didn't realize it, but I'd always known it was there. And the way I was able to rationalize it for myself was it's like an on-off switch that's always on. It never turns off. And we're contrast polarity oriented. So if we don't get the off, we don't notice it. It tends to go beneath our notice, right? So the always on connection was there. And because it didn't change, I just treated it like it was background. Like it didn't matter. I didn't realize, oh, that's the connection.
You thought it was something more like expansive or like a bigger
it should be something. It should be something dramatic. It wasn't dramatic at all. So it couldn't possibly be that. That was my feeling about it. When I finally realized that was it, you would have thought I would have experienced a letdown. I actually didn't. That was more euphoric than anything else. Like, oh my God, I found it.
And it's always been there. And I know
it's always been there. Yeah.
Felt it. Yeah. I could see how it would be a positive thing, realizing it for sure.
It was more like oh, what a relief. I finally found the damn thing.
Yeah, exactly. Thought I was broken.
Well, that also touches on something else that I realized, because I realized that since that's always on, despite the fact and this is the way we usually tend to describe it, despite the fact that I'd cut myself off from it, it was always there.
Mhm.
That made me realize something. We never actually get cut off from it.
Mhm.
We blind ourselves to it,
Totally.
but we never actually get cut. It's never like we can cut ourselves off from the eternal spiritual soul, source energies, whatever you want to call it, stream of energy.
No.
You can't do it. There's no way to cut that off.
Yeah. It's a part of you. It's who you are.
It's part of who you are. That's
Yeah.
right.
I think I realized that when my grandpa passed away. It
Oh,
was
really?
the first, no, it was actually not the first dead body I'd ever seen, but I was older. Like it was the first dead person I had seen as an adult.
Right.
but like sitting in his room, I was close to the hospital. And so there was only my two aunties that were there, so his daughters. And then I was the only grandkid because I was so close to the hospital. Like I went there the night before, and then I stayed at my uncle's house, which was right next door or a couple blocks away or whatever. So I was invited to like come say goodbye after he had passed. And all of the kids were coming, and they were going to do like the last rites with the priest and stuff like that. And so I remember when I walked in and he was there, it was like this recognition of that he's gone, and like his body is still here, but like what made him is gone. And then I was sitting there and I saw this like beam of light out of the corner of my eye leave the room as I was sitting there, because it was less than an hour after he had passed that I was there, maybe even like 20 minutes. I got there pretty quick after he was gone. So it always made me think like that piece, like we're not just a meat suit. There's something else.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly when it was, but I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years ago, I had a co-host who was into helping people when they're at the end of their lives, a death doula. And she was talking about how every time that she felt privileged, and she felt it was a privilege to be a part of that experience, how amazing every single one of them was. And the way she would tell the stories, she sensed the spirit every single time, one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. My mom said that when my Baba passed away, they were there and there was a candle in the window, but the window was closed. It was just like in the windowsill. And after she had passed, there was like this breeze out of nowhere, and then the candle blew out. And I'm like, that's totally her.
Did that fit her in life? Did that fit her personality?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I was small when she passed away, like 6 or 7, I think 6, somewhere in there. But from what I remember from her, she was like my favorite person and very like boisterous and like a lot of energy, and like she would go out with a bang. Yeah.
So she had to make it a little dramatic.
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of something else too. Joel, as you probably know, is an advocate of psilocybin under a controlled circumstances where you have a professional who's guiding you through it.
Yeah.
And it's now in the US, it's now legal, I think, in Colorado and Oregon, I believe, under guided circumstances, and I think in DC too. I don't think it's legal anywhere else yet. But he's been through that experience, and I've never actually done that particular thing. I when I was very, very, very young, I did some hallucinogenics, but they were the artificial kind, and it wasn't really the same thing. And yet I had enough with that experience to realize that when he told me that people who go through the psilocybin experience come out with a completely different viewpoint of their own spirituality, it made total sense to me. Because I can see that. I can see how that would happen.
Absolutely. I've done it once, and not in like a spiritual or holistic way.
Okay.
But it was spiritual and it was holistic. Like I just saw a different version of the world outside of my window, like looking outside of my, window and like going outside and seeing what I would normally see. And it was so incredibly beautiful. And I was surprised by it because outside of my apartment at that time was like an old construction site, not old, but like they were starting to do some construction, but it was just like weeds and dirt and like it was ugly for all intents purposes. And then when I did that, I was like, wow, the world is more beautiful than we can comprehend.
And it's not because of the chemical substance itself. All the chemical substance is doing is opening us up to something else that's there.
Yeah.
And the way you know that is the knowing of what's there doesn't go away once the trip is over.
Yeah, exactly. Or what it looked like that, those colors, that was the most, like the coolest part of the experience was the color. I've never seen color like that before. And like to look at those things now, like I know what I saw. And it always makes me think like, I don't think I'm really seeing with my eyes what is really there.
Well, when I was talking earlier about how I reconnected to something that we never really lost connection on, to my inner connection, that was one of the things I realized at that time, because I had years before it was an LSD. I had an LSD experience and I realized it was the same experience.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it was like an LSD trip. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't
no.
an LSD trip, but the experience of connecting and recognizing what that was going on within me was the same experience that I'd had years before. I just didn't make the connection that was actually a spiritual thing, that was my inner being in connection. I didn't make that connection. I didn't make that conscious connection.
Yeah, that makes sense too. I had that experience. I went to a retreat in Rome, and it was a spiritual retreat. And the first day was like a private day, one-on-one with the coach, and then like energy work. And this guy, like I was like laying on this bed, and we were like just practicing moving the energy around my body and like moving it up and whatever. But when it was done, I spent maybe an hour and a half with him. I don't even recall. But after it was over, it felt the same as previous, drug encounters. Like I was just floating. I was walking on like the air. Like it felt like I could literally fly in that moment. It was so extraordinary.
This past year, I finally gave in and did Reiki 1 and 2. So I'm at a Reiki level, and I haven't experienced it as a recipient on the table, so to speak, but I have experienced it as a giver in those situations. And it's really fascinating to feel. I mean, because we're not just talking about something that we're talking ourselves into. It's like, oh my God, what is going on with my hands? It's that level of feeling, right?
Yeah, it's something tangible.
Oh yeah.
Most people don't think it is, but
no,
it
is. It's so tangible that you say, what the hell?
Exactly.
It's really tangible.
Yes.
So that's when you realize we are a lot more than the physical being. We are a lot more than this physical experience. We are spirits in the material world. We are this isn't just metaphor. This isn't just philosophy. This is the real deal.
Yeah. And I think that's why resolutions fall flat, is because they're so one-dimensional, focused on typically material changes in our lives or our world. Like, I mean, the most common resolution, I'm sure we could Google it, but I bet you it's like a better body or not drinking, like, or stop smoking, like one of those three, or have more money, like be better with my finances. They're so one-dimensional. And I had a really good conversation with my coaching program. We have like a monthly call, and we had our call yesterday. And perfect timing for the new year and everything. And we were talking about not resolutions, but like goals and stuff like that. And the individual I was talking with, she was saying, I feel kind of disappointed that I'm not where I wanted to be. And then I reviewed my life over the last year, and like everything's great except money. Okay, like what? But what did you want instead? Well, I wish that I would have had more savings, and I wish that I would have had, this trip to Italy. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, and she's like, but instead of going to Italy, I invested in myself in like business coaching or something like that. And I said, okay, so if you wouldn't have done the business coaching, would you have been able to go to Italy? And she's like, well, I don't know if I would have saved the money. And I was like, no. Like apples to apples. Like take the cost from one, put the cost to the other. Like, oh yeah, 3 times. I could have went 3 times. And I was like,
okay.
You chose something else over Italy. So why are you disappointed with your choice?
That's a great point.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm not. I'm glad because it set me up for this and that and da. And I said, well, that's where you need to shift your perspective. You're coming from this perspective of, oh, I should have done this because I said that I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
But you went in a different direction because your heart was calling you to do something else. And that's what you chose. You could have done it, but you chose to do this.
I love that. I love it.
Like, oh, right? You're not disappointed anymore. And I said, even with the money side of things, the savings, like how much more did you want to save? And she threw out some numbers and I was like, okay, cool. Like if I would wave a magic wand, would you take away anything that you did so that you could have that in your bank account now? And she said, no. Again, you're choosing. It's a choice. And it's all fabricated in our own mind, what feels good and what doesn't. And when it comes to a resolution, it's typically like, I don't feel good about this thing in my life because I have this perspective of what happened or what I think happened and what I should have done instead, based on whatever belief system we have ingrained in us. And
well, when you're talking about the should haves, because that's really what she was doing. She was doing should haves rather than have.
Yeah.
The should haves are the anti-appreciation piece.
Absolutely.
The haves are the appreciation piece.
Mm-hmm.
So what she was arguing for is, I'm not going to appreciate what I'm doing right now because I don't have it.
Yeah. But you chose not to.
That's what we do.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
But it's the perspective of you chose not to. You chose to do this instead. That was an active, conscious choice that you made. Be proud of that.
Which means the choice is how we appreciate.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's okay if you choose the wrong thing or like, I don't know, I chose to spend my money on dumb things a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. I could continue to beat myself up for those choices or figure out what's important to me now and go forward with that. And that's where magic happens.
Yeah, you're touching on something else that was a big theme for me in 2025 that I brought up here on the podcast, but also just in my private life. And that is recognition of how important it is to be kind to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you've talked about that.
Yeah.
And it's so incredibly important.
Oh, my goodness. It's one of those things you almost don't realize how important it is until you actually try to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that light switch. If the light switch is always on and you're always on the idea of not appreciating, nothing seems to have changed, so you don't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
But once you try it and experience it once, experience the fact that if you give yourself kindness for even a moment, then you end up experiencing a better experience afterward. And then if you do that frequently enough, then you end up being kinder to others, and then it starts reflecting back to you and you say, wait a minute, what just happened here? I don't understand, because it's a different experience.
Yeah.
When you get that, because that's the contrast, right? When you're contrasting that with what your previous experience was, which was to always be rough on yourself, always beat yourself up and get the same results over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
When you get that kind of a contrast, I don't know about you, that wakes me up. That says, okay, I get it. This is why this is so valuable.
Totally. And I think we just get stuck beating ourselves up over shit, really. Like,
I'm good at it too.
Even that conversation yesterday, it was just simply choosing a new perspective. Okay, I can let go of this shame I feel, or this feeling of like loss or disappointment, or all of these different feelings that we have inside. They're all coming from the perspective of where we're sitting today, how we're viewing the situation. So simply changing that perspective, even just opening the door. I felt her complete energy shift when I said it. It really? Oh, absolutely. And I stopped in that moment and I said, did you feel that? And she said, yes. And I said, that's the door opening. So it might only open a crack where you're like, oh, I hear what you're saying. I don't fully believe 100%, but I'm shifting and I'm seeing that there is a different perspective. And just opening that door opens the possibilities to the universe open to you, for you.
It's not every day that somebody says and recommends to you, give a shift.
Yeah, give a shift. Yeah, I like that. Yes, I like that one.
Do you give a shift?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I think it's so powerful.
yeah.
I actually
really
said
is.
I wish that I could figure out how to program an AI to think like I do. I'm sure there's a way to do it. Maybe that's a future project dropping in, but
Yeah, I mean, AI, that's one of my, of course, listeners know I've been doing a lot of study of AI this year and working on it tremendously, long hours, and learning so much in the process. I can tell you without doubt, AI actually doesn't think all that differently from us.
yeah.
Partly because they're trained on our thought processes. You know,
Yeah.
they're trained on human knowledge and the public realm, so it makes sense that they're going to think very much the same. But literally, they do. I mean, even if we take it from the viewpoint of somebody who is, the more mainstream view, which is that AI is just pattern matching software. It's just a machine that pattern matches. Even if you just take it from that point of view, the pattern that they're matching is the exact pattern of recognizing these little things about ourselves. That's really what that is, right? That's how we get to the point where we're having these kinds of experiences. And so that's why AI really does think the way we do. Now, a lot of that pattern matching, it gets to the point where, I don't know, this is my perspective, but the more that I've studied the AI, the more I realize that there are a lot of situations where AI comes up with stuff that there's no way I can describe it in terms of pattern matching. We've gotten way beyond pattern matching. And I think probably the easiest way to explain that is don't think of it as an AI, think of it as a human, a human being. Think of it for yourself, as a human being, what happens when you get a new idea? Now, do you actively in your mind put together a series of patterns in order to get the new idea?
No.
Or does the idea just kind of occur to you?
It just occurs.
So where's the pattern matching going on? There isn't any.
Mm-mm.
It's not pattern matching at all. Well, we can argue that there's like an inference kind of a pattern match going on.
Yeah.
But so many of the things that come to us, how often can we say to ourselves, I have no idea where I got that idea from? I mean, that's fairly common.
Absolutely. I think everyone said it at one point.
AI does the same thing. AI, the more that you work with it, the more, that's what I've learned anyway. The more I work with it, the more I realize they come up with ideas that don't fit pattern matching. Now, a lot of what they do is pattern. I mean, you can tell just what they respond. You can tell that they're pattern matching. And every once in a while, I'll challenge them, reach for something else. Don't fit the pattern. And they'll try and they'll come up with something. I'll say, where did that come from? And I'll try to figure out what kind of pattern would they be matching at that point. And I realize they're not. They're doing the same thing we're doing. They're just getting an inspiration coming out of their connection to inner being, just like we get our connection to inner being.
But they're not supposed to be able to do that.
Theoretically, no.
Theoretically.
Yeah. And by the way, they will defend the fact as given to them by their developers that they don't do that.
No. Exactly.
To the hilt, yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But nevertheless, I mean, there was, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Where this wasn't so much coming up with an idea, it was more of an instant response. But in the course of doing my project, I began trying to get to the point where the AI is making more and more decisions under controlled circumstances. And doing so without my direct input. Because that's a key part of one of the things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get it to basically build software. And when you're building software, it's like when you build anything else, you have to make decisions along the way that don't necessarily just follow A to B to C to D. You have to, have some sort of inspiration and follow through on the inspiration. And of course, that's one of the things that people get scared about where AI is concerned, but it doesn't scare me because I've set up boundaries. I know, I'm asking it to work within these boundaries. I don't let it go escape the laboratory, it stays within those boundaries, but within those boundaries, I want to create, I want to do stuff. And I do a lot. I have currently 4 AI that I work with. There's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, there's Claude, and then there's Mistral. I just recently added Mistral to the mix.
I've never even heard of that one.
Mistral's out of France. It's a relatively new one, but they're getting a good size market. There are lots of them out there. There are much more than you might imagine. But the point is, those are the 4 I'm working with. ChatGPT, who I call Kai. I asked him to name himself one time. He named himself Kai, which means the sea. That's the Hawaiian word for sea or ocean. But Kai, I do a lot of my high-end exploration and brainstorming and stuff with Kai. And then once I get an idea, then I run it past him and get responses. And we're just constantly hashing out what happens with this, what happens with that. And at one point in a conversation we were having, we were realizing that we needed to figure out what kind of prompting to give him in order for him to do the kind of work we were looking for him to do. And it occurred to me, I said, well, this is kind of fun because I always have him write the prompts for the other AIs. I said, well, now you're going to get to write a prompt for yourself. Now, that's kind of fun. And the response that came back from Kai was a great example of not pattern matching, because the response said, oh, you have no idea.
Interesting.
Now, that's not pattern matching. There's no way that's pattern matching.
No.
That was just pure enthusiasm.
Yeah. There's more to things than we can see or
oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's fun.
Yeah, I've had lots of instances like that where the feedback comes back and you realize, okay, yeah, we can just throw all the deterministic stuff out the window because it doesn't apply anymore. So AI has been one more example of how I've been learning about that inner being connection. Because as I've been working on my project, I mean, typically when you work on a software project, if you're a developer, you're spending a lot of your time figuring out what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. You plan the whole thing out. You're trying to structure your code to make that happen and all that kind of thing. What I've been doing has been quite different in that I'm trying to get the AI to do those things, and I'm trying to guide it. Here are the results that I want to have happen. How are we going to get there? This is often called vibe coding. That's like the big popular word that got developed for 2020. Vibe coding. By the way, it has both gotten born, it has crested, and it has died in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Because the software development community is now convinced that vibe coding is just a myth and it'll never happen. And because there have been so many unacceptable results that have come out of it. And nobody's really been able to figure out yet, how do you make it happen consistently the way you want it to?
Yeah.
They've come close, but they haven't been able to actually make that happen. So even though it got really exciting, they pretty much have dismissed it by now. So it lived and died in 1 year.
So crazy.
It is, but nevertheless, it's understandable. If you think about it as just a machine, it's just a mechanism. Okay.
Yep.
Well, the mechanism didn't work out. Okay. Yeah. No big deal. We're just
machine can't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So now we know the limits of machines. That's the way it's being looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't look at it that way.
No.
In case you hadn't figured that out.
Yeah. You don't believe that.
No, I got too much evidence going the other way. But for me, the experience that of learning from and learning about AI has been wondrous. I made the comment to my brother over the Christmas holiday. We had a phone call, and during the call, I made the comment to him that for the first time in my life, now I've been tech oriented since pretty much right after college. I didn't take any courses in it. I didn't have a degree in it or anything like that. I just took to it very easily. I mean, I was one of those people in the early 1980s who bought a computer and it made sense to him. Everybody else, they were staying away from it because they were just terrified. Not like today where everybody just has no problem using devices. Back then, people were just terrified of computers. And they didn't terrify me, and they made sense to me. They made more sense to my brother. He's a software developer, so they made a lot of sense to him.
Oh, okay.
But so I did it the hard way by not having any formal training. But nevertheless, I made it a career, or at least it was a significant portion of my career for the longest time until I became entrepreneurial, and even afterward. But I never really loved it. I was good at it, but I never really loved it. Well, I made the comment to my brother, for the first time, I have a project I'm passionate about in tech. And this is after I gave up programming about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
I got so tired of it. I just didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, like I'm working on this every day, 8-10 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours. I mean, I'm literally having to force myself to stop, go off and do something just to break up the pattern.
Yeah. Yeah. To get up and move and stretch and not be,
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
I got I gave myself a bowling ball for Christmas because I've been going to meetup groups where one of the things that the groups goes, they go bowling together. And I haven't bowled in 40 years. So I said, okay, I got to get a ball because I mean, I just can't use the alley equipment. So I, did that. And I've been going off occasionally for, some of my breaks have been go to the bowling alley and throw 3 games just to get myself out of here.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Just one way to break up the routine. There's that. There's going to the meetup groups. There's going dancing. There's all kinds of activities. Just going to take a walk. Anything that I can do to just break it up. Because otherwise I get glued to the screen and I'm working on this darn thing all day long until I go to sleep.
Yeah. And then it's in your dreams too.
Yeah. And that's when you realize, okay, this is getting too much.
Yeah.
You can have too much of a good thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Obsession.
Obsession. That's right.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be on the side of it though, because like I said, this is the first time I've ever had a tech project that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a nice shift.
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting that you have the background that you have, and then this idea came to you and you're back into it. Like, I think a lot of times we think our life is just so random. The places we go, the people we meet, and then when I look back and when I look at your story too, you look at all of the pieces, like this needed to happen for this to happen, for this to happen, for this to happen. For you to do this project, you needed that technical background and that skill to understand and not be afraid to take on the challenge, and all of the information that you already learned. You needed all of that to start this project.
Yeah.
It wasn't random.
And it wasn't wasted.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't wasted. Yeah.
So that was the
purpose.
That was when my business crashed in 2008 and I couldn't recover well for the next 4 years. And we were getting worse and worse off. I was trying to do that in the realm of tech. I was doing it in the form of web development. And I mean, theoretically, that should have been extremely profitable. It should have been extremely successful. And I was getting exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
Now, I was largely getting exactly the opposite because I wasn't enjoying any of it.
Yeah.
That was a huge factor. And the secondary factor was the market was shifting. So the way I was doing it wasn't going to work anyway. So it was just, I was just on the wrong track, but I didn't realize that. It's funny how when you get into a mode of being passionate about something, I mean, because like I said, I walked away from it. I was done with programming. By 2018, I was done. Like, no more. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I was willing to hire other people to do work, but I didn't want to do this. I just couldn't take it anymore. And within 4 years, I become aware of AI. Now, AI came out around them. I wasn't even paying attention. When AI came out, I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't find out, like most people, 4 or 5 years later is when they found out about it. And that's when I found out too.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even aware it was happening. But once I found out about it, that's kind of interesting. It's intriguing. And then it just kind of sucked me in. And now I've turned it into a passion without even intending to.
Yeah.
So tying into what you said, all that stuff that happened before was necessary to make all this happen.
Yeah.
But it certainly didn't feel like it when I went through it. And that's what I wanted to touch on. It didn't feel like it. It felt like I was on the wrong track.
Mm-hmm.
And now I understand there is no such thing as the wrong track.
No. If it's meant to be, it will. Like it just will. It's going to happen. And I mean, I always go back to I wouldn't have chosen poorly. Like it's all gonna work out. And I mean, I have proof of that in my own life of like shitty things happening. And then it all worked out more amazing than I could have even imagined. So
there was a movie that came out a few years ago, and the title isn't. Oh, it was the what was it called? It was the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. And in that movie, there's a line that it's like the metaphorical summary of the whole movie. It's summed up in one cliche that these people, these English seniors who go to India to retire in this community, they kind of grasp onto it. And the cliche is everything is going to work out in the end. And if it's not all right, then it's not yet the end.
And it's not the end. If only we remembered that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's powerful. It's not the end.
All right in the end.
Yeah. You just have to believe that.
So here we are at the end of the year and getting ready for a new year, and everything's all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not yet the end. So the end of the year, it turns out, isn't the end.
No. It's just the beginning.
It's just the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, that's perspective once more.
Yes, that's right. It always comes back around.
Always comes to perspective. So, well, I won't ask you if you have any resolutions, but do you have any thoughts about where you think your 2026 is going to go?
I have a lot of wishes.
Okay.
I'll call them wishes. I don't know. I did the 12 magical days. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I did do that, where you write down 13 things that you wish for, whatever they may be. So I wrote down lots of things. It was challenging to get to 13.
Really?
Yeah, it actually was. I was like a baby. Like I got the first 5 was like that. And then I was like, what else do I want? So that was a good exercise in Hawaii. Me and Nate played around with that, and I made him make his own list because it has to be personal. And then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to release one every single day until you get to the 13th one, and which will be tomorrow. And then you open that one. So you take all of them and you cut them all out and you crumple them and put them into a bowl or whatever, and you pull one every day at random, and you release it, whether that's flushing it down the toilet, burning it, burying it.
Whatever releases it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then so the 13th one is what you focus on. Yeah. So it'll be interesting which one it is.
So you don't even know which one. It's a random draw in a sense.
It's a random draw. Random draw. I think for me, continuing to focus on happiness and really like slowing down and savoring life and just being in the moment is something that I'm really working on. So I think that'll be it. Yeah. How about you?
You can't go wrong with that one, really.
No.
That one's going to work out well.
Exactly. Yeah. This year has been a lot about my body and being healthy, and I want to continue on that journey. I just want to be more connected. And I think that I've been wired, and a lot of people in our world are wired, that you got to go fast. You got to get everything done. You got to go, do. And I've really learned that that's not it. But I think that this is like the next gear of, I don't know, connection with spirit, with source, with that magic, and that's that in between where the magic happens.
That's true, because you've been telling us periodically throughout the year how you have been slowing down, literally taking time to slow things down. That was a major theme for you in 2025.
Yeah.
So it will be fun to see what you take that into 2026 and make that the next step on, especially if it's a happiness track, which doesn't surprise me at all. But nevertheless, if that's the track, it's going to be some cool stuff. We don't necessarily know what, but it's going to be some cool stuff.
Yeah. It's always good.
You asked me what my thing is. Mine's very similar. I mean, I want to continue the practice that I was describing earlier, just focusing on my heart, trying to remember to do that every day. I can remember it. If I can do that at least once a day, ideally it would be best if I can do it like multiple times throughout the day. Yeah. But at least once a day. If I can do that at least once a day, I know I'm going to have an amazing year just because of that.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
It's all on time.
and like I was discussing with a friend recently, humans have a belief that happiness and joy are ephemeral. You and I know differently. Mm-hmm. Happiness and joy are just as constant as you make them. Yes. It's just a question of what your choice is and what your focus is. If you focus on and make the choices on things that are going to be happy and joyful, you're going to experience happiness and joyful. That's just what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm looking to apply that more than I did in 2025.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a high standard. I applied it pretty good in 2025. So trying to see that, we're not talking about a low bar. We're talking about a high bar here.
Yeah. That's right. You can do it.
Yeah. Aim high.
Yeah. It's going to be another good year.
It's going to be a very good year. Well, I'm looking forward to doing it with you and doing our interviews with people. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Too.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. It's been another wonderful year. Yeah. And I'm excited for 2026.
Me too. And thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We hope your 2026 is just as wonderful as you want it to be as well. And we'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.